Hey, welcome. It is Wednesday at 7 p.m. That means it is Wednesdays with West time, answering today's tough questions. I'm Jeffrey West, president and founder of Freedom Financial Wealth Management. And we did start this webinar series off in the middle of Corona to give you some ideas of things you can do to deal with what's going on out there in the world. As we continue on, it became apparent that some folks really want to know how to connect with their grandkids, and the technology is a little scary at best. So what we did is we went out and found Layla Pomper. She is our new geek. Is that from geek, Layla?
Yeah, no, I'll take it.
She takes the word geek to a whole new level. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about technology and some of the platforms that are out there. You know, basically how easy it really is to use them and make technology our friend. So Layla's going to make technology our friend tonight. You able to handle that?
I think I'm up for the challenge. I'm going to do my best.
All right, sounds great. So there's Layla. Hi, Layla.
Hello.
So everybody out there in virtual land, Layla, you want to talk about your company a little bit, who you are and how you got here?
Yeah, so my name is Layla, like you alluded to. My business is called Process Driven. I help businesses who hate technology get on board. I think I used to say something like I trick them into loving technology, but that sounds really bad. Really, it's about getting their processes, procedures, their collaboration all happening digitally.
Wow, those were a lot of 25-cent words.
It's a lot of words.
You make tech easy.
Sure.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for being here. I do want to touch base before we get a little too deep. Coronavirus is still out there. People are still scared. It's still nuts. The equity markets have come back quite strong, although there's some scary things on the horizon. So guys, as an advice, keep going, keep plugging away. Do what you got to do to feel safe. That's our advice to everybody. For our clients, we'll continue to keep you safe. But let's see how we can get in contact with our kids and grandkids and maybe understand what they're talking about. So, let's start with the easy one. I mean, how can technology keep us in touch with our loved ones?
Well, so a lot of the time I'm talking in terms of technology, but I think the same lessons apply to everybody. It's about finding an easy way to speak, to communicate naturally. Now, it's going to feel unnatural at first, especially if we're talking about all these tech gadgets that don't make sense when you're first looking at them. But it's just finding a means of communication, just like we used to draw on cave walls. We used to, send smoke signals, whatever we had to do. Now it's just evolved into these different ways of communicating. So some of the easiest ways to communicate for, I think, personal use is just using the tools that we're already in every day, from email to text to Snapchat. I could go off TikTok.
Oh, Snapchat. I heard that's one of those fancy kitty words there. What is Snapchat?
Okay, so Snapchat, this is digging into the I'm going to tell you a personal story here. I am married to a carpenter who hates technology. So it's very close to home, this technology battle. And I introduced him to Snapchat. And what Snapchat is it's a software just like Facebook, but all it does is send pictures back and forth, pictures and videos. And you can add little words and pictures to make it even more fun.
All right, and you also said that texting thing. Now,
yeah.
I have a 20-year-old daughter, and for the longest time when we opened up the statement, she buried me on the amount of text she sent per month. I'm actually beating her for the last 6 months in a row. I fell in love with texting. Matter of fact, I wish people could leave me voicemails.
Yep.
But it requires a smartphone, right?
Yep.
And it really is that easy.
It is. And I wouldn't even say it requires a smartphone now. If you have a regular phone, you can text, like any kind of phone. But even if you don't have a phone and you're on a computer because you like that bigger screen, you can now text from a computer, whether it's through software or just regular texting.
So what type of software allows us to do that?
If people are Apple users, it's built into the Apple messaging. But if you're using Facebook, that messaging feature is the same as texting. So there's a lot of different ways to send text-based messages. It depends if you like typing, though. If you don't like typing, then you got to get into some of the more creative outlets.
I personally have Your Phone Companion, which links my Windows computer to my Samsung phone. And I can
There you go.
So it's really that easy.
Mm-hmm.
You can just call the phone store and ask what software to use, or where do I find out what software is right for me?
I guess the phone store would probably be a place to check out. I guess it depends on really what tools you're using. I would encourage you to not add anything new and look at what you already have. Whether if you're Apple user, you've already got things built in. If you use Facebook, you have things built in. I would try to keep it simple and use what you have before you go adding more tools into the mix.
So you're saying that we don't need to go learn a new language.
No.
All right. So I'm not like going to Europe and needing to learn how to use a new language. So, when you say Facebook so a lot of folks have Facebook, and I heard, I put my information there on Facebook, they're going to steal my bank account.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I mean, I don't work in cybersecurity, but no, I think there's a lot of fears around technology that are unfounded. They're based on exceptions, not the rules. I think it's just like anything else, just like when you were first using the phone, be careful what you said over it. It's the same thing. We're just needing to be mindful of what we put out there. If you don't want it to be public, don't say it in a public forum, which is now certain areas of Facebook are public. So just be aware of whether you're messaging one person or you're messaging the whole world. Okay.
Now, my 20-year-old daughter informs me, the 44-year-old guy, that Facebook isn't cool anymore.
Correct.
If I try to text her something on Facebook, she probably will never see it. Where is the 20-year-old at these days?
The 20-year-old, I would say, is probably on Instagram right now. I think it depends. So we're talking grandkids, right? 20s, probably Instagram. If you're looking younger than 20s, maybe, teens, preteens, Snapchat that I mentioned before. Also TikTok. I really think, I know.
TikTok was in the news the other night. The department's not its biggest fan.
There's a lot of concerns about all of these tools, but I think one of the big trends you see is that we're moving away from text, like actual letters, into video and audio. So I think that's a big trend, regardless of the tool. If you're looking to communicate with younger people, it's almost like reinventing the phone in some ways, but we're going back to sending video clips. We're doing Zoom messages. We're doing TikTok and Snapchat are both picture and video platforms. There's also a tool called Voxer. It's very popular in the 20s to 30s. Okay. It's a walkie-talkie tool. Wow. That's all it is. Just simple walkie-talkie like the old Sprint phones were, if anyone, or the original walkie-talkies.
Yeah, I think the Sprint phones are newer than the walkie-talkie. That Voxer, I hadn't even heard of that one. Now, over Christmas, I saw this thing that Facebook was selling that was looked like a Jetsons TV screen where I could video call. What's that all about?
So a lot of technology companies do create their own products for connection. I think for most of the people that are watching this, it's probably overkill. It's nice to have your Alexa, or your Google Home, or your Facebook tool to help you do these things. But if you have a phone in your pocket, you're able to use most things without buying more widgets.
Okay. Now, I'm a little more technology averse adapt than most of my clients. I personally got myself set up where my TV will connect to a camera for Teams in my living room, and to Skype, and to Facebook. And by the way, Teams and Skype are both Microsoft, right? What's the difference?
Skype is owned by Microsoft now as well, I believe. Okay. Pretty sure.
And then FaceTime is Apple, is that right?
FaceTime is Apple. And there's also Hangouts/Meet, which is the Google version. There's Zoom, which is Zoom's own thing. There's a lot of different tools that do the same thing, which effectively is just video calling.
So it's what you and I are doing right now.
Yes. Just like WhatsApp also has video calling. There's a lot of different tools. I think it's important, though, when you're approaching this, to figure out how you like to communicate and how the person you're trying to talk to likes to communicate. Because you mentioned you hate voicemail. Yep. I'm the same way. I actually have my voicemail message says, please stop. Do not leave me a voicemail.
I think I'm going to change mine this week. So, we have with coronavirus in place, a lot of our older population and a lot of clients are kind of afraid to leave the house, and they miss their grandkids. Now, their grandkids could probably run circles around in technology, and their kids probably can set this up. If they would like to set up some video time with the grandkids, what would be the first step?
I would talk to the kids. I think communication has never changed. It's always this two-way street of what do you want? What do I want? There's going to be grandkids who love talking on the phone. That still exists. That is a resurging trend. There are people who feel exhausted by video. So I would call up those kids and I say, hey, where are you hanging out? How do you talk to your friends? And then as the grandparent in this situation, I've got time. I'm adventurous. I'm willing to go out of my comfort zone. I would listen to my grandkid and say, oh, they're hanging out a lot on this Voxer walkie-talkie thing. All right, grandkid, can you teach me that? And I would get on the same platform that they are. The biggest thing with communication now is just being on the same type of tool. Because if you're on Facebook and I'm on this and I'm on that, we all end up in our own little silos.
So Facebook can't talk to Zoom, Facebook can't talk, or FaceTime, which is Apple, can't necessarily call a Skype phone.
Correct. Everything's kind of built to go within its own ecosystem.
So ecosystem or that platform or that software matches with that. You can't get two things not to connect normally. Because when I use my Samsung phone, and I go to call some folks, it says video call on there, but oftentimes it's grayed out. Is that because the person I'm calling doesn't have the same phone?
I'm not certain, but that would be a fair assumption. I know FaceTime, for example, is going to give you challenges if you're trying to communicate with someone who's not an Apple user. I think something to think about, like Zoom, to be on the Zoom call right now, we both have a Zoom client installed. So in some ways, we're both familiar with Zoom, and that's how we're able to connect. It's the same on any platform.
You use the term client. What is that?
We have a downloaded thing on our computer. We have a program, just like you'd have Word or whatever else.
Okay. So what you're telling me is the client is a program on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can handle that. And so with that being said, I download Zoom. I call the grandkids.
Yeah.
I ask them what type of software they want to talk to me on, whether that be Zoom or FaceTime. Now, they say FaceTime. If I don't have an Apple, I'm out of luck.
Probably, yeah. I would stick away from that.
If they say Zoom or Facebook
or Google Meet.
Or Google Meet. That's a new one to me, too. Whatever they say, the good, that sounds good to me. Come over to or tell me how to install it. They can walk through it.
So it's going to be different depending on the tool. I think most people are probably going to say Zoom right now, in which case what will happen is your kid will have a Zoom link. Your grandkid will have a Zoom link they can send you. It's a website just like anything else. You click on it and it'll prompt you. It'll say, do you want to download Zoom? You click yes. And it walks you. It literally has big old pop-ups walking you through the 2 steps. It takes about 5 minutes and you have Zoom installed, and then you can click the link again and there you are, face-to-face with the grandkids.
So in 5 minutes, I can be face-to-face with my grandkids. If they're in California and I'm in New York. That is amazing. Now, I knew that already. My 5-year-old actually had Zoom calls with other 5-year-olds when we were all locked down for quarantine. Now, that was something to behold, but if 5-year-olds can do this, anybody can do it, right? But so why is it important for those of us who are technology challenged to continue to learn all this new stuff?
Well, I would say push yourself so that you can stay in touch in a more casual way. I think the conversations we miss when we're apart from our family isn't the hour-long dinners, although those are great. You can do those on Zoom. Sure, that's nice. But I think you miss the water cooler conversation, which is what I say to my business clients. You know, that those one-off things, like, I was thinking of you. Here's this thing that reminded me of you. The reason I think we should all adopt more technology is so we can get connected in the little ways. We don't have to schedule it. If we get really comfortable with these little ways of staying in touch, you could be talking to your grandkids, you know, sending them a thoughtful message a few times a day or a week, not just once every Sunday when you have an hour on Zoom. So I think the more you learn, the more little ways, creative ways, you can stay in touch.
Yeah, I actually found my 7-year-old father is texting my 20-year-old daughter random little sentences at weird intervals. And my 20-year-old thinks it's cute. My 7-year-old father probably spends 8 hours trying to compose the text on his flip phone. But as all in all, they're staying a little more connected. And and he's in West Virginia.
And I think technology is a way to express yourself. I think of it like it's a new art form. Maybe some people put that's a little too far, but you might have seen these little Bitmoji things. They're little cartoon.
The little cartoony things.
Little cartoony things. And that is something created in Snapchat. My mom stumbled upon this. And it's her new way of, you know, saying I'm thinking of you, sending these silly little Bitmojis of her little character doing things. And same with GIFs, which are like those moving images of someone doing something repetitively. we're able to express things in a more creative way by being able to use videos and images and cartoons like we couldn't before with just sending thoughts.
Now, Layla, I got a big question you just brought up. Is it a GIF or is it a GIF?
I'm team GIF. Unless I say GIF, I kind of go back and forth.
Okay.
I'm gonna say GIF, and then GIF is peanut butter.
Now, I'm going to say that my daughter and my wife, huge debate in our house, has almost ruined Thanksgiving dinner a couple of times. For those of you who don't know, the name of a file of a picture is called a GIF or a GIF, and there's a great big debate in the tech world which one it really is.
GIF.
Yeah, it looks like you're paused out there a little bit on your recording, Layla, in case you aren't aware. You're frozen on my screen, but that's okay. We're going to keep talking because I can hear you, and I'm assuming one of our internet connections will catch up in a minute.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear and see you. We'll put them over. We'll make them look at my cute face while we're trying to get your cute face to quit being paused. With that being said, we're also looking down here, and as these older generations are in contact with grandchildren, why is that important?
Why is it important to?
We lost Layla altogether. So the question I had asked her right there was, why do we think it's important for generations, the older generation, to stay connected with all these various tools? Much like the generations previous, and when she zooms back in, I'm assuming she'll say the thing. There used to not be telephones in our house, and our great-grandparents, or your grandparents, may have connected via the annual newsletter at Christmas, or just hand-wrote letters. And at the time, it moved. The phone calls came in, the letters stopped. Now, some say the art form slowly died. And now, as we continue to advance in technology, things like the old common telephone hanging on the wall is now gone. We all have these things in our pockets. And someday soon, these things will go away, and there'll be more and more technology. I can say for myself that I have 4 siblings. We're scattered up and down the East Coast. We all have a text chain going. A text chain is when you're all texting together on the same text message over and over. And I would say it's probably, there's Layla. I would say the text chain that occurs in my family has been the thing that has brought my siblings and I way closer together than ever before. I think if you look back, it's been going on for about 3 years that we've been on the same group text together. You there, Layla?
I am here. Yeah, sorry about that.
I was talking about what is important. Why is it so important that older generations actually learn this new tech? Can't they just say screw it and walk away?
It's a form of expression. So I think if you want to be able to express yourself and be heard, it's important to learn, just like learning written English or learning to type. I think there's so much knowledge that's trapped and that's just contained in one person. Part of what I do professionally is help people get things out of their head. That applies in business, that applies in history, that applies in life. And I think technology is just another way to get to express yourself.
Okay. What about an iPad or a Samsung pad? Would that make my life easier?
It could.
Why do people have those things?
Most often it's because they want a bigger screen.
Bigger than this little tiny thing?
Bigger than that little tiny thing.
Yeah.
A lot of the times I suggest people go with a Chromebook, actually, if they're looking for something affordable and just trying to be a little bit more mobile. It's going to last a little bit longer than you will in one of those tablets. It gives you the same big screen, but it also has a keyboard. So if you do need to type, you can, rather than having to touch on a giant phone, basically.
Yeah, I could touch on this. Anyway, so what we're hearing here is there's a myriad of tools out there, and the best way to find the tool for you is literally just ask the grandkids what they're using.
If they're your person that you want to talk to, why not eliminate? If you both have to switch, that's twice as hard.
Absolutely.
I think go with the easy route, like water. Just find the easy way.
Find the easy way down. Have them help you install it. They probably can do it. Mm-hmm. And give you a little tutorial. And before you know it, you get to spend time with the grandkids, just like you and I are spending time now, and get that connection that you're missing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I don't have to worry about security or people stealing my bank account or maybe seeing my dirty home behind me.
Well, actually, you have a good example of seeing your dirty home behind you. You should explain someone's got to explain what's going on there.
Yeah, so what I have for everybody who's watching me, there's my background. As you may see that my hand could disappear into it. That's because that's not actually there. We can change backgrounds to anything we want. Here is an example of me in Sorrento, Italy. Ooh. Or I can pick, a cave in Amsterdam's ice bar from another vacation. They even have really cool ones that move. That's really nice. These are all just quote unquote virtual backgrounds that comes loaded on my Zoom, or I can add my own custom one like my firm's name behind me. Then you can avoid people seeing your dirty house. So you don't necessarily have to do your dishes.
It's a win-win.
It is. I notice there's a weird circle in front of you. What is that?
This little thing.
Yeah.
This is actually a microphone. So if you're feeling pretentious about your technology, you can,
Ooh.
I know, I'm not practicing what I preach about keeping it simple, but you can make nice equipment can make it a little bit easier. I actually produce YouTube videos. So when you're trying to learn these technologies, I highly suggest YouTube if your grandkids are tired of talking you through it. YouTube is a website where you can search videos. Many of us are familiar with it. And I actually create some. So you need slightly higher audio quality than what you get from headphones. And so that's why I have a dedicated mic here.
Okay, so why are you wearing headphones?
The reason I am wearing headphones, this is actually a good lesson for everybody. If I did not have headphones in, I would have your voice coming out through the speakers and it would be picked up in my microphone. And basically the sound would loop. The speakers would go into the microphone would go into the speakers, and we'd create this loop. So by having it in headphones, which everyone should be doing at home, if you are Zooming, I highly recommend you use headphones. So that way there's no loop of sound.
Headphoning it. To be fair though, when I'm on regular Zoom calls, I do wear my earbuds for that purpose. I don't think I look cute with them in, so looking cute's important on Wednesdays with West. Good. So I think you've given us a lot of good information tonight. And as you saw, you actually just dropped off by mistake because the internet connection was a little frazzled. And you can sign right back in. It's literally that simple.
Yeah, it did it automatically. I didn't have to do anything. It just waited and then it jumped me back in.
In YouTube, let me get back to that for a minute. It's a website where there's videos and you can literally type in how to anything. Somebody's probably made a video on how to, whether that's how to install the software or how to build an igloo.
Correct.
And you guys, if you guys have not done the how-to on YouTube, it can teach you to cook, it can teach you to sew, it can teach you to build an igloo, and it can teach you how to install some basic software. Good. Good. Now, let you know, guys, next week we have coming up, we're actually going to do some economical stuff. It's been a while since we touched base on the markets. So, Layla, you might want to join in to learn how to handle your money next month. We're going to be looking at ways to what we should be doing in the markets. They have come almost all the way back to pre-COVID numbers, but the COVID numbers are creeping back up. And what do we see in that? Not next week, but in the near future, we also have a guest economist coming in who's absolutely brilliant and amazing. We do have an entrepreneur by the name of Jeffrey Haas coming in, who's going to talk about having the right attitude for us small business owners in this horrible environment that we find ourselves in. And don't forget to go to our YouTube station, Freedom Financial Wealth Management YouTube. We have our own channel there. And all the videos that we talk to our folks like this are there. I think there's 3 or 4 more to upload soon. You can watch any of our past episodes. You can watch our future episodes. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube so you can see when we upload new videos. Layla, what was the name of your company again?
Process Driven.
And you help companies with technology.
Correct.
And if my grandparents call you, will you help them get Zoom?
I'd probably tell them to go check out YouTube. I've got some good videos on Zoom out there. A few hours of content.
So the secret of the day we're hearing here is go to YouTube.
And subscribe to channels like this one.
Yeah, and I actually have my wife, every time I ask her a question, she's a computer programmer, she looks at me and goes, just Google it. Just Google it. I don't think she's actually answered a question in 5 years. She just says, just Google. I actually just started asking Google. So, guys, if you guys aren't using the technology platforms, they're really simple and easy. There's how-to videos. There's how-to word-by-word instructions. You just Google it or you YouTube it. But the secret is ask the grandkids what they like and try to do what they're doing. Yes? Yep. Layla, thanks for your time this evening. Hey, everybody, thanks for joining Wednesdays with Wes. We will see you next week. Have a good day.